afternoon in London, as always.
Oh yeah.
Not expecting much.
Yeah, that's the usual way it goes in England.
Yeah, I mean it's better like this. You don't feel bad staying inside in front of your screen, I guess. But
Yeah, I can see that.
you can relate.
Yeah.
Where are you based again? I forgot.
I'm in Germany.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Where in Germany?
In the very south, in Bavaria.
Nice.
Yep. Where all the good beers.
Yeah. Better than. I mean, it's a tough fight between the here and there. I'm not a beer man, so I could not tell you which one is better, unfortunately.
Oh, I see.
Maybe one day I can come to Bavaria and you can maybe try some the real stuff.
No, definitely. I'll be happy to give you a tour. All right, guys. This is the 12th weekly dev call. We're going to wait like 1 more minute for people to trickle in, see who's joining, and
Yeah, nice.
give you guys a quick overview what we're going to talk about today.
So I'm alone today compared to the other calls.
What do you mean?
I'm alone this time in the dev call. You said last time that there's usually up to 4 people who participate.
Yeah, this week we basically didn't have any kind of progress updates on most of the projects. So and since Arcane is like pretty advanced anyway, we can just do a deep dive into Arcane, and that's
It's nice. It means that
Special edition.
It means that everybody's busy working.
Yeah. Heads down. Secretive, what did you say? I believe you said something.
Yeah, I said it's a special edition.
Oh yeah, special edition today.
Yeah, seasonal special.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, because I left the call.
All right. I'd say let's get started. Hope some more people join. But anyway, this is the weekly Matchbox Dev Call. It's where basically all of the projects in Matchbox come in and update each other and us on the progress they've made. And also when we onboard new projects, new grantees, then usually they come on the weekly Dev Call and present their project, talk about what they're building, any kind of challenges, issues, difficulties, what kind of help they need. Roadmap, that kind of stuff. So it's a very useful kind of get together, especially because people from one of the projects usually join and offer some of their advice, ask questions, and it's just a really good place to basically learn from each other and get things moving. So with that out of the way, today we have a special edition. We've onboarded a new grantee. It's Mist, and he's building the game called Arcane. And yeah, I don't want to take away too much from it, but maybe it would also be good if you could give us some context, because you initially wanted to deploy on Polygon, I believe. And have now chosen Starknet over that, or you're not exactly sure yet if you want to completely move away or deploy on Starknet as well. So it would be great if you can give us like some context on that and then introduce us to Arcane, give us a deep dive. We're all very excited to hear about it because I think it looks really awesome. So with that out of the way, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to say I'm thankful to be with Matchbox and to meet all of you guys. It's definitely super interesting for me, especially because there's a lot of people here who are very centered around the game design because of the new possibilities that Starknet is offering us. So yeah, I'm super happy to be here and to meet all of you. Yeah, so I don't know, I could give you maybe like a quick background of where I'm coming from. Basically, I'm more of a traditional game dev. I work in mobile gaming for the past 5 years, and yeah, I've stumbled across the Web3 space about a year ago, a little more than that. And basically, it started on Solana, where they wanted to have some kind of SDK for Unity just to show that Solana was a great chain to trigger transactions in games. And so me and two other guys, we built a small SDK for that, built like a small demo, which was very basic, but it was just a way like to show, yeah, we can have transaction, it's fast enough, the fees are low enough. So that was like my introduction to the space, basically. But as some of you know, I mean, the community on Solana is not ideal, is not the best. I mean, I don't know how it is anymore these days, but it was not the best at the time. So I kind of moved away naturally towards Ethereum, and especially towards Arbitrum. It was actually Arbitrum instead of Polygon. And the main reason for that is that there's a Treasure DAO over there. And maybe if you guys want, after we can discuss the concept of Treasure DAO. But I was super drawn to this NFT community, and I was seeing that they're really trying some stuff on the NFT gaming that was interesting to me. So I was like, you know what, it's a good environment to go and build. I was part of a couple of projects, and then I just decided to, I said, screw it, I'm just gonna pull my sleeves and went to learn full Ethereum development, front-end development as well, because that's not something that I was doing before. And yeah, built Arcane as a sandbox for everything that's about to arrive and the things that I want to experiment with. So that's kind of like where I'm coming from with the game. But so since I'm a Unity dev, for me it was makes more sense. In the beginning, I wanted to do something that was solely web browser based, and then I was like, it's such a shame because first of all, I really suck at front end, at React apps, and it was a bit of a limitation for me because there's so many aspects in games that need to be taken into account, and for now we're looking at the on-chain mechanics of what we can do with games, but there's also the user experience, and it's something that people they want to have a lot of feedback from the game, and these are things that I could not provide with the React app. So I decided, let's go with the Unity build. There's some amazing SDKs that are very easy to integrate to trigger transactions with MetaMask, etc. So the project started, yeah. And what is Arcane? I don't know if you guys, some of you maybe know, but it's kind of like, it's a small, basically RPG, fully on-chain. The goal was to have everything on-chain, even though it's not always practical, of course. It's basically set in the universe of Yidrim, which is a plane of existence. There's actually a small story on the website. I'll link it in the chat later if you guys are interested. But yeah, it's a old school RPG with wizards and magic and adventures and so on. There's a bit of there's basically two reasons why I started building this one. It was first of all to see how far I could push the limits of questing with NFTs and economies, and we'll get to that a bit later. Maybe it's something that's worth discussing in details. But so pushing these limits and trying also to help Treasure DAO, the ecosystem of the project, in various ways. So that means trying to sync the magic tokens, trying to create things for their NFTs as well. So all the treasures that emanate from Treasure DAO are integrated in the game, basically, and you'll need them in various points to burn them, and just helping the Treasure DAO with their economy. And so that's like the two main reasons why the project was created. And the interesting one for me, contrary to a lot of people and a lot of projects that I see in the Web3 space, a lot of people want to make video games that are like I don't know, like AAA games with a super realistic graphic and just MMORPGs where people just run around. But I don't know. To me, the more interesting aspect is really what NFTs bring to digital economies, and how you can have organic communities that organize themselves around specific assets, and yeah, having these fabrics that just appear here and there, and players take control. That's something that's very dear to my heart, and I hope that we can explore a lot with the game. Is that everything clear so far? So activities.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think everything's clear so far. But if people have questions, then feel free to just chime in. I'm sure Mist is happy to answer.
Yeah, sure, 100%, 100%. Okay, so maybe another thing that's worth discussing is that I'm doing this alone. I'm doing everything from the obviously the contracts on chain, the Unity build, the front end, a lot of the art, not everything. There's thank God there's this pixel artist that helps me a lot, that does amazing stuff. But basically, I'm doing everything alone. So I have to make some design choices. Obviously, I cannot go for something that's ultra realistic with crazy animations and not going out there to rig characters and make textures and everything. So it's really like having the smallest denominator for the game and basic building blocks. So maybe I can share my screen after and we can go through what exists right now. It will give you a better idea. Actually, yeah, I'll share my screen now. Hold on one second.
It doesn't have to be now, but like just in general.
Yes, maybe it will give a better idea of how it looks like. Hold on, how do I... Alright, so I hope it's not going to be too small because my screen is pretty big. Can you see the Unity screen?
Yes, I can see it. It's a bit small, but depending
on... Okay, well, I'll play the game in maximized. Oh, there we go. So there might be some weird texture things going on, or like fonts might be a little bit fuzzy, but I'll fix that later. Can you see this?
Yeah, it looks good. Yeah.
All right, nice. So a lot of things are placeholders as well, but I'm just like trying to put the systems together. Basically, people will obviously connect their wallet, get their wizard collection, choose one that you have, and there's basically three aspects at the moment for the game. There's the questing aspect, obviously like a lot of NFT projects, but I don't know if you guys have gone questing on those projects, and it's always pretty bare bones in the sense that you just go and you lock your NFT for I don't know 24 hours, and then you come back and you just get your reward, and that's it. So the point of this is just to like try to push things a little bit more and see if we can get the player to make decisions when he goes out. So this is the world map with the different zones where a player are going to quest throughout their journey, from like the smallest level to the highest level. And when they choose a zone, we actually go to there's a oops, not this one here. So basically, the world is just a 2D array of tiles, and when they go on a quest, they're gonna have to go and choose somewhere around them. There's going to be some role play involved, and they're going to hear a little bit about the zone, and they choose to embark on the quest here. Obviously, there's going to be some type of time lock, but a little bit different than the other games in the sense that it's not going to be 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever. It's going to be pretty short, but then you'll need your energy, your mana to go on quest, and so like I'm still limiting the amount of quests you can do per day, obviously, because otherwise the economy can be wrecked, and there's too much looting. But it's better for people to be able to choose to do short bursts of questing, and then they'll wait for the recharge instead of locking for 12 hours. It's just those small things that they change a little bit. So now the guy actually we skipped all the part where you have to go on a quest, and then you have your progress bar. You'll just come back here and you start to loot to get some events back from the game. And depending on what type of tile that you're in, you're gonna trigger different types of events. All of this is on chain, so it's all in the contract. Basically, depending on which type of tile, some things can happen, and that involves the 5 different stats that we have in the game. There's strength, focus, intellect, spell power, and the last one that I forgot, which is endurance. Anyways, those 5 different skills. Basically, they're related to 5 different types of events, and it's basically dice rolls that you have to go over, and the player just cycles through the events that he got, and a little story unfolds every time you come back from a quest, basically. Then you get your loot, obviously. Different stuff to put on your mage and increase your stats. So yeah, those maps. This is the first zone that's gonna come out soon, and basically, yeah, those maps are all 2D areas that the players can move around in. And yeah, there you go. Once you've obviously looted your stuff, we got the wait, hold on. Oh, nice little bug here. Hold on. There we go. This is your character sheet, and with all of your stats, etc. Obviously, you have the equipment. You can equip, unequip your stuff. It's going to be boosting your stats along the game, and obviously you're going to be able to progress throughout more zones, earn more stuff, etc., etc. This is really for the looting aspect. It's something that it's gonna have to be obviously tinkered with time, because there's a lot of items to loot in the game. There's more than I mean, just the gear. There's about 450. Obviously, I didn't make all of them by hand. I built a lot of them through a small algo, and but it's still like there's a lot of things that are gonna be left to find out in the later stages of the game. So it's always like it's always a challenge for me to have to bring a lot of functions, so later I don't have to basically re-upload everything and redeploy everything on chain, and trying to, if there's something that's wrong with the game, trying to go and fix it. But yeah, so these are the items that bring you bonuses. We got the little globes, inspired obviously by Diablo, some of you may recognize. And so that's the looting aspect of the game. Once the player will get all of these items, obviously he needs to do stuff with it. And the second phase of the game, that I don't have here to show you unfortunately yet, but it's going to be the base building aspect. And you'll be able to integrate some of the other NFTs from the ecosystem. So if it's on Starknet or Arbitrum, whatever other NFT project is around, I'll make sure that people can integrate them and use them as companions. And your companion basically is going to be your base keeper, and on the base, I'm generating like a small piece of land, deterministically from the token ID and other seeds, and players will be able to build on it, build some buildings, some structures that are going to bring them some perks during the quest, and increase their capabilities in their professions. Because there's 9 professions in the game that players can do, and obviously there's some items to loot in all of the regions for them to craft stuff, build stuff, send it to the marketplace, sell it, exchange it, then go back to their camp, craft, expand their little story like this. And so yeah, the crafting aspect that's going to come later is very exciting, because I hope it's going to launch the third aspect, which is really this exchange, this cooperation between players. That is, again, to me the most interesting. How I'm going to be able to throw a couple of assets in there, some linear stuff so that are used for crafting, but also some more interesting items that are going to be 1 of 1s or 1 out of 10s, and that come in very specific situations on very specific tiles, and let the story unfold for the community this way. So I don't know if you guys have any question for now. The vibration.
So if I understood correctly, basically what is live now is the kind of questing system, and is crafting live already in some
No,
capacity?
so none of this that I'm showing you now is live actually yet.
Right.
Because, and that's something we'll come to after as well. It's is the game going to be on Arbitrum or is the game going to live on Starknet? I'm sure it's going to live on both, because I'm super excited about Starknet and I already started building on it. I already started porting the contracts to Caro, so the game will exist there as well. But I'm also going to find out very soon, and I guess that's something we discussed in Amsterdam the other day. I'm going to find out very soon if everything that I wrote is going to be viable on Arbitrum, because I did some testing. It seems to work fine, but I'm not sure down the line how it's going to look like for users in terms of fees. And this is a huge bottleneck, obviously, because the more complexity you want to have in the system, the more annoying it is to optimize. So yeah, this part is the part that is going to come in the next update. For now, there's just the NFTs are on chain. There's a couple of stats that you get when you mint your wizard. You get a race. You get 2 types of affinities, character traits, so Zen, Nefarious, etc. And yeah, that's it. It's actually something also we can discuss after, but I like to put a lot of stats everywhere, just so down the line we think about the interoperability and the composability. If there's another, there's basically another project that wants to build on top of the majors, they can use stuff that even, I'm not sure I'm going to use everything. Maybe the affinities are going to be useless, in the game, but somebody could take the wizards and then build something else on top using the affinities. It's just something, to keep in mind.
Yeah, I actually love that. It's really cool. It's kind of at the core of the on-chain gaming thesis, right? This kind of composability, interoperability that people can just come in, build on top of it, and experiment. Really cool. And to my previous question, maybe I should rephrase. It's not live yet, but in terms of what is built already, it's basically the wizard system, the item NFTs, the questing
Yeah,
system.
exactly. So what is built right? The next update is really the questing system. So all of the adventure, there's the event system that brings you the event. There's all the item system, inventories, little things like this that are basically just the basic building blocks for the game that I'm going to use all throughout. So that's why it took me so long. It took me like a month just to get those together and to make sure that everything was working smoothly. But crafting is not included yet. And the base building is not included yet, so these are really the two aspects that are gonna come later. But I still had to yet think a lot about how I'm gonna organize the items, and maybe that's something that you can tell me more a little bit later about the of course hosting data and trying to push too much data on chain. I still need somewhere to write all of the weapon stats and obviously not lore text or whatever, but there still needs to be a little bit of something somewhere to if I want to make it and have everything on chain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think and I hope that Starknet is soon going to have the volition mode where you can use off-chain data. I think that's a premier use case for games like this. And so in terms of the future kind of roadmap, what's that going to look like?
On terms of which roadmap, sorry?
The future roadmap for Arcane, like
So again, when I was talking before about the fact that I'm alone, there's also like a design approach where a lot of things are open-ended, and even in my head, when I started Arcane, it was really to be able to have some kind of sandbox, a NFT sandbox system where I could be free from, bringing new features to the community, bringing new adventures to the wizards, and wherever the space goes, because there's also, I mean, I've been here for a year and a half now, but I'm sure that you guys on the call, you've been here for some people much longer. And unfortunately, in this space, we see that it's like a giant laboratory, right? We're all doing experiments, and things they come and go all the time, and in this mass of experiments, to me, the only thing that will survive are the stories and the IPs or the projects. People, they need to be resilient and to move forward. So I cannot really answer you. I can tell you like what's the short-term roadmap, because it's actually Starknet related. But the long-term roadmap, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's fine. I would love to hear the short-term roadmap,
Um,
and also completely understand your kind of approach, and I actually really like it because it adds so much possibilities for other people to come in and expand upon what you
exactly.
are trying to do.
It,
Yeah.
it is also like a composability in teams, right? If there's tomorrow like some guys who come and say like, hey, you know what, we wanna build something in the same universe, but something totally unrelated. So like I don't know, like a casino, in the same universe. I'd be like, yeah, let's do it, and then yeah, we move. We're gonna move with time towards things. I hope I hope that the core of it is really going to be about adventure and exchange and communities, really having some kind of organic movements from coming out from the free flow of assets, because it's really the crux of everything here, right? Games, they're the same. The Web3 games, they're the same as the other games. They're exactly the same. The only difference, I mean, there's a couple of difference, but the most interesting one to me is really this ownership. So people, they have their stuff, and not only we can build in a permissionless way on with other projects, but also we give out the tools for stories to emerge, and Treasure DAO has made an amazing job with this, with their Legion NFTs. They got the ones of ones that are super rare, and that really people compete for the yields. The projects, they compete for the yields, and they get together as guilds to acquire the very expensive NFTs. And there's kind of like curve wars, like combat between DAOs to control the magic emissions, etc. So yeah, the long term goal is really to achieve that with the game. But for the short-term goal is really to bring it to Starknet, and there's a couple of ways to do that, and I'm not sure at the moment how I'm going to do it. I'm still pondering. It's a difficult question. I already started to build some of the contracts because I know I'm going to use them anyways. But what is the best thing to do here? Is it just to spawn like a parallel universe in something in the universe of the game, but a parallel world, like an expansion, that comes onto Starknet, and it has the same mechanics, and just like there's a second world that lives and breathes there. Obviously, I'd have to allow the current holders to mint on Starknet. And that's a little bit annoying because I have to go back. I have to go back from Arbitrum to mainnet, which is going to take me 8 days for a transaction, 7 days, I don't know, and then I have to send it back to Starknet. So it's not the most practical solution. It's kind of it will be a long process, and I don't know how the people will feel about that from the user experience point of view. Or maybe I'll manually whitelist something. I don't know how. I need to find a practical way to do it. Or just have the world of the game also exist on Starknet, but have a different type of game. There's so many new possibilities, and that's something that I'm also super excited to talk about with all of you guys. There's so many new possibilities gameplay-wise that open up now that we're out of the bounds of the EVM, that there could be, it could be the same place, but just a different game.
Yeah, very good question about how to handle the kind of two instances on Arbitrum and Starknet. But I'm sure there's going to be some practical solution that we can find.
Do you know about any services that would allow to speed things like this from L2 to L1? Because that's the most most complicated part, is actually to get people from Arbitrum to actually send a transaction to L1.
Yeah. So for tokens, it's easy. There's Hop, there's Connext, all of these fast bridges, so you can skip the 7-day limit. But for NFTs, it's going to be a bit more difficult if you want to transfer
Mhm.
NFTs between mainnet and Starknet or Arbitrum. that's a bit more complex. I'm not sure there's a good solution for that yet. But for tokens, it's easy. But yeah, I'm sure we can find some kind of solution for that, or come up with some practical approach to this kind of two instances issue. And I wanted to note about your kind of long-term roadmap that you spoke about, and I think that's just super aligned with what Matchbox is trying to do, right? At Matchbox, we have like all of these different components. For example, let's take the guild system from Sam. Sam is also here in the voice chat.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I'm just super excited to see how we can integrate all of these into all of these games, maybe create some kind of shared game world where all of these games kind of interact and have like different guilds, different systems, different DAOs,
Yeah,
and what have you.
100%. I
Yeah.
actually met Sam the other day here in London, and we had an interesting talk because there's going to be a lot of crafting in this game. There's going to be with the professions and the fact that players are going to be able basically to build their own little storefront in the end. If you're a blacksmith level 10 and only you can do a certain type of items, I'd like to have some kind of representation in the game with like a cool storefront, whatever. But maybe there'll be a guild of blacksmiths, and how interacting with Sam's amazing guild system, like, is there a way for people to get together and they're going to share all of these assets and sell them together in the marketplace, maybe do bulk orders? I don't know. There's so many possibilities to explore here.
Yeah, hi Mist. I'm really excited to work with you on that and implement some sort of guild system. And yeah, it looks great. Arcane. I just had a quick question. I hope it's not too much of a deep question. It was just from your background mainly in mobile development. Do you see this mainly being used on mobile? And are there challenges that come with that?
You mean Arcane specifically?
Yes, Arcane.
Yeah, I guess the front-end developers, they have the same problem. It's like always, you don't want to hear about mobile, but you have to deal with it. It's an unfortunate reality, especially for all of us who spend all our days behind our desktops. But yeah, there is, and like coming from the mobile game world, it's a headache every time. But we were specialized in mobile, so we didn't have to think about scaling UIs, on both environments. Although, of course, as you can imagine, on the mobile, there's about like 1 billion different resolutions. So like you still have to, use a couple of tricks to make it work everywhere. But here in that case, it's impossible for me to make it work. I mean, you know what? Maybe it's not impossible, but I would have to redo everything. I would have to do a separate build and use Unity's anchors and just like, build it from scratch, not system-wise, but UI-wise, for it to fit on mobile. It's doable. And it's good that you challenge me with this. It's super important for me because I live in my own world where I think that, all of us in Web3, we're just using it on our laptop, but it's not true at all. So many people in my Discord I see on their little icon that they're using mobile.
I think the general approach at the moment with Web3 anyway is everyone's doing it desktop. So yeah, it's just a question whether it was possible, but obviously it is a challenge.
Yeah, to fit, I mean, not to fit the information because we could always, but then like the scrolling, in the world, having, the thing is that this Arcane is not a complicated game in itself because of the nature of on-chain gaming. Like there's a couple of functions and that's it, right? I'm dressing it up in a nice way, but this is not a complicated build compared to other games, especially when you're involving, I don't know, physics or trigonometry, all things that now we can do on StarkNet. But it wouldn't be too difficult. If the project is super successful, you know what, I'll do it with pleasure. But for now, it's just about getting the experience right, and for players to enjoy it on PC first.
Great, thanks a lot.
No worries. But yeah, like it's super exciting to see what's going to be doable. I'm asking myself the question a lot right now. What are the new possibilities that StarkNet is going to bring to the project itself? I haven't reached that stage yet because first of all, I'm still, getting my training my Kero skills, which I really like. Like I mean, it was a little bit of a mountain to cross for me in the beginning, especially because I come from a completely different background. But now that I get it a bit more, it's really an interesting language. It's very barebone, and like all of you, I guess, you have to spit blood in the beginning to go over the mountain. But now, like that I'm a little bit more confident, I feel like things are going to open up pretty quick. And even though I've never missed like my for loops so much, it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what people can come up with on Starknet in terms of new gameplay possibilities and stuff like that. And I actually have an anecdote to share on that, because you spoke about crafting a lot, and I think crafting is super interesting. There's this action RPG game called Path of Exile. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah,
with
of
that.
course.
Yeah. So I feel like something like that could be super interesting, even if it's just a kind of mini version of that, right? Where you have these different currencies, and each currency just has one singular purpose, right? So you can have a currency that only rerolls magic stats on an item. You have a currency that adds a random stat to an item, and all of that kind of stuff, right? Because what I see frequently in games is that if you have only one currency, which is gold, then usually there's some kind of way that you can farm extreme amounts of it, and then it's going to kind of ruin the economy,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like experimenting with that kind of system, even if it's kept very small, of course, in the beginning, I think that could be super exciting.
Of
I'd love
course,
to
yeah.
see that.
Now, especially nowadays, we can see it a lot. We have really a demand problem in all the ecosystems. Everybody's it could be like a OHM fork or NFT game. Like at some point, just inflation is too high, and it's a race to create things right everywhere. But if it's embedded into the system at the core, there is definitely some ways to at least to tame it a little bit more, because things have been pretty extreme lately, to say the least. So yeah, I love it. Honestly, it's something, I didn't think about a token yet, because I didn't want to make it sound too much like like just another NFT project that creates a token just for the sake of it. I really want to find like a real utility for it. But it's true that if it was embedded into the crafting, it could be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm just excited about it because I love that system, and I think it addresses this kind of token sink issue very neatly, right? There's no gold that you can farm. Everything is basically a random drop that you can get from killing monsters or going on expeditions or whatever kind of gameplay system you want to have. And it's just a very effective token sink, and each kind of currency item has also this kind of identity, right? Where you know when it drops, oh, I can use it for that, I can use it for this, right?
Mm.
I just really like that.
It's a very sweet loop, actually, a gameplay loop from Path of Exile with the drops, and it's a constant loot box system, a little bit like Diablo was, actually, just it's cranked up to 1,000 in Path of Exile. But yeah, it's like a big slot machine that this guy's the RPG game, but it works. It really works.
Yeah, and especially it's a slot machine that doesn't require you to necessarily spend like real money, right? Of course, the kind of resources and stuff can have.
You're gonna spend real hours.
Yeah. Like the goal should be for people to want to play the game, right, and not go out to the marketplace and buy the best item right off the bat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that's why I'm really looking forward to start experimenting a bit more with Carol, with Starknet, and be like, okay, how many I know the state of the chain is going to change so much this year, and I shouldn't benchmark anything on things how they are right now, obviously, but yeah, start to put a bit of data on there, see how it fares, just record. I mean, we'll get some nice ways to package data, so it's a little bit less convoluted, like the way I have it currently in Solidity. But still, it will be interesting to see what are the limits for now as to how much information about the player we can store.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously still kind of the biggest bottleneck on Starknet right now, and I hope they address it soon. I have doubts they will, but yeah, it's still an issue for many of the projects on Starknet.
So I guess
Yeah.
we'll make a card game first before we bring the RPG.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to start a card game, go for it.
Yeah, and because I've seen the ACAR project as well. I don't know if the guys are on the call right now, but all of these approaches that I see, they're quite unique in the sense that people are ready. I feel here in Matchbox DAO and Starkware to do the next big leap in terms of computation on chain, of course, and that's pretty exciting for me when I see what these guys are working on. You know, it makes more sense than the other projects that I see on other chains.
Yeah, that's really kind of the goal of Matchbox, to bring all these people together and figure stuff out together and build cool stuff together. That's really what we're all about. So that's really cool to see, and we're super happy to have you. Glad you consider Starknet, and let's build some cool stuff together. Does anybody have
Oh
any?
yeah, sorry, I thought I was talking, but I was not pressing on the button. I was just saying
Oh,
quickly that yeah, that's one of the things that I'm super excited about being in Matchbox. It's going to be talking with other devs and for people to destroy my code and to tell me, because I'm still, of course, learning Caro and there's a lot of stuff that I do wrong. And, if people can destroy my code, I'm super happy about it.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that's going to happen.
And looking for partners for the future as well, because I'm not gonna lie to you, it's I don't know how far I'm gonna do this thing of doing it alone, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy just to do everything from like the front end to everything else basically. You have to have like a partner to bounce ideas off together and just like double the horsepower. That's really something that I'm looking for. I hope that there's somebody in Matchbox somewhere right now that I get to work with closely in the upcoming weeks and months that would be excited about the project, or we start something together. But yeah, I'm also looking for like a workmate. So hopefully he's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Matchbox is we'd be happy to help you find someone like that and support you in every kind of way we can. I'm certain we will find some kind of arrangement, some kind of person, some kind of workmate that's going to help you. I'm sure of it.
Nice. Because yeah, I mean, like the one thing, for example, that I'm liking the most right now with my project, this has nothing to do with Starknet or whatever, but it's the marketing, and I can see a lot of people think, because I have like 500 followers on Twitter or something, and a lot of people, they come and they think it's a scam, and it's just like I don't have any time to do any marketing whatsoever, and I think that's something that we discussed as well, in Amsterdam. It's like I don't. First of all, you need somebody to put the word out there, and also there's a positioning problem where like a lot of people in this space are speculators. It's dominated at 99% by people who are speculating on NFTs or whatever asset, and it's a little bit of a like a mental battle in the sense like you don't want to cater for those people, but at the same time you want the word to get out there. So what do? It's a thin line to walk.
Yeah, that's kind of a, a very real kind of issue, right? Yeah, I guess you can do marketing, but you can do it in kind of a normal kind of way and not try to bait people with like 100% APY on some kind of yield or some kind of bullshit, right? So yeah, but yeah, Matchbox is also happy to help with that. We have a few people who are into that kind of stuff. So yeah, happy to help and support on every front.
Nice.
So yeah, really cool game. Thank you for showing it off to us. Does anybody have any questions for him about the game? any remarks, any kind of ideas, please don't be shy.
Hi guys, it's not an ID, but it's not a question, but more like an ID. I jumped in maybe a little bit too late to understand all the game and the possibilities that Mr. created with Arcane, but I thought that it will be amazing if we be able to create a big hunt in the world of Arcane. I don't know if it's possible or if Mr. Thought about it, but I think that will be an amazing possibility for the game and for the Matchbox ecosystem.
So sorry, what did you say? A big hunt?
Yeah, a big hunt, like a hunt, a puzzle into the game.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we would have like some kind of mini game inside the game.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you can create. I don't know how the stuff. Yeah, how do you drop the stuff like the ring and maybe the jackets? I don't know every stuff that the players and the wizards will get, but you can totally create a puzzle to just find a ring, a special ring, a golden ring that gives a big power. So I think that will be very great.
Yeah, 100%. I like where you're going with this, and it's totally something that's possible because remember in the beginning when I told you about the tiles, and they have different indexes, of course, and I can just like create new tiles through functions on chain, and basically in the later zones, hopefully people could go into special places, special tiles where there's I don't know like there's a temple. With the symbol of Starknet in the or Matchbox DAO into the stone or something, and when they quest on that tile, they can drop a certain object, and then with the recipe system that goes with the crafting, we could have them go and loot a couple of the objects, like 3-4 NFTs, 1155s, and then they exchange it for I don't know like a unique like a relic or something,
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that we can really you have you create a world, so you can totally create quests, you can create puzzles, you can create hunts. So I think it would be very great, and I would be very happy to help you on that.
Thank you. Yeah, with pleasure. Like it's, I agree with you totally. That's something that has been actually thought from the beginning to be able to have other projects put not Easter eggs, but to have like their own objects to loot inside the world. So again, in that necessity of composability, interoperability, like just working for the NFT ecosystem that you find yourself in. Right now it's on Arbitrum, tomorrow it's on Starknet, and whatever other project, NFT project, GameFi project is in the ecosystem, the doors are open for them for in like a one transaction to be able to create a couple of items here and there, and people are gonna come interact with it. I talked about the base building aspect. For now, it's going to be in pixel art, so it's difficult to integrate that. But I would love to have a brick somewhere. People could, I don't know, like, build a structure or something. Anyways, it's very open ended on that front.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds very good.
Yeah, absolutely love that. It's just so cool. There's so many possibilities. It's really exciting, man. I can't wait to see all of that interact. It's so cool.
Then when it comes out, I can finally sleep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. It's kind of currently this kind of magical feeling in Matchbox where a lot of the things are kind of coming together right now. Of course, it's still super early, but we can see some kind of things take shape, and that's just really cool. And
Yeah,
what makes it
definitely.
so exciting.
Could you describe me like what is your long-term vision for Matchbox? Because I know what the short-term version a bit like for Arcane, but do you have any idea of who you would like to be in the future in the ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a great question. Basically, what we're trying to do is go into a similar direction as Treasure DAO on Arbitrum. We're not quite exactly sure how that's going to look like, but basically what we're trying to do at Matchbox is create some kind of shared infrastructure for all of these games, all of these projects, and then that makes it very attractive for all of them to come to Matchbox and basically build their game into this ecosystem and use this kind of shared infrastructure. But beyond that, of course, we would like to see all of these games kind of compose with each other, interact with each other, have the items integrated into each other in whatever way it's possible, right? And so, for example, we can see this with the guild system, right? It can be implemented in lots of games. We can see this with Arcane, with kind of the tiles where you can let other items spawn as a reward, like from other games, from other NFT collections, and so on and so forth. So really, the long-term kind of vision for Matchbox is to be, on the one hand, a kind of decentralized kind of game studio where people can just come in, take some of these components, take some inspiration, build their game, collaborate on building it. And on the other hand, for users, for gamers, it's supposed to be this kind of open, shared, composable world where you can come in, have all of these games at your fingertips, and they all have something to do with each other. They all interoperate in some kind of way. They all compose in some kind of way. And so
Yeah.
I think that's just really exciting.
That's honestly, there's so much talk about the metaverse out there, and people have no freaking idea of what the metaverse is. They think it's a Facebook video game where like everybody's in the same room.
Yeah.
But Treasure DAO's approach and the approach that you want to take to me is real metaverse, because the metaverse is just it's a fabric between all of the projects, between people, between communities, and a bit like the internet, it's going to be like a ugly ball of things that are just sticking together somehow. It's not going to be a sleek, whatever environment. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like the metaverse is not some kind of VR game where you put on your NFT and you walk around in a circle and kind of dance or something. The metaverse is really this kind of composable net of games that all kind of share something or interoperate, or you have some shared kind of fabric between all of that. That's the metaverse in my opinion. At least that's how I think you can predict it to be at this point in time. Like it could be completely different, right? But right now, that's looking to be the more kind of viable case for the metaverse.
Yeah, 100%. Nice. Well, then I'm super excited to be part of this project again. Really.
Yeah, awesome. We're super glad to have you. It's
Thank you.
always great to have people with kind of the same kind of vision who are really driving that kind of space forward. So it's really great. All right, we are almost coming up on a full hour. I'd be
Can I ask
happy.
one really, really, really quick question?
Yeah,
Really, really
sure,
quick.
go ahead.
Mist, you talked about using the Treasure DAO NFTs. Does that not lock you into using Magic, their token, and how do you relate to their ecosystem?
So I don't have to. I can use the NFTs independently of the Magic token, but I do want to use the Magic token on the Arbitrum version for sure. Like its goal number one is to be featured on their marketplace, so I could because there's going to be a lot of items that are going to be traded between the players. So like hopefully. It's going to generate quite a lot of fees for the Treasure DAO. And also, yeah, use some magic things wherever I can. So I look up magic, just benefit the ecosystem from the economic standpoint. And if there was like the equivalent on Starknet, if there was if Matchbox DAO had NFTs with like pendants or amulets or whatever, I would lock them inside the game as much as possible, just to help with supply and demand.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. We'd love to chat with you also about the kind of Treasure DAO system and how we can learn from that on Starknet and kind of implement
Yeah,
things
sure,
in
sure.
kind of the same, well, maybe not in exactly the same kind of fashion, but take inspiration from that from Matchbox to get this kind of shared ecosystem going. That would be really good.
With pleasure.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions? We have like 5 minutes left if you guys want to shoot something at Mist.
I'll say one more thing, which is in a few hours' time, Casey, who's on this call, is joining for a Twitter Spaces workshop to discuss on-chain audio, like music tools and audio tools on-chain on Starknet. And we're joined by Lord of a Few, or Loaf as he's known, from Realms, discussing how he could potentially integrate that into the game that they're building. So that's
Nice.
just a plug for something coming up. But I've heard no noises out of your demo. It might be that the audio aspect of this might be something that you could consider working with Casey on. I can see Casey's on the call as well.
Yeah, super interesting actually. The audio part is something that we forget too often.
Yeah, I'd be happy to connect you two. Still early with Casey, but like once he has some kind of system running, I'd be happy to see how we can implement it in Arcane, but also in all of the other Matchbox kind of games and projects. Definitely very fascinating stuff. The on-chain audio kind of generator, on-chain dynamic music, really cool stuff.
A lot of experiments to be done there.
Absolutely. All right. If there are no more questions, then I'm going to wrap up this call. As Secretive said, go check out the Twitter Spaces. I'm going to throw out an announcement in the Matchbox Discord as well in a few minutes after this call. So definitely check that out. It's going to be super interesting. And thank you all for attending. Special thank you to Mist for showing us Arcane and answering our
Well,
questions.
thank
and
you. It was
presenting.
my pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, let's wrap it up. It's been a great hour deep diving into Arcane, and see you guys hopefully on the Twitter Spaces in a couple of minutes. Take care, guys. See you.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye bye.